And so if the media focuses on, look at Millie Weaver, she's this alt-right person and she's this evil person and she's having these meetups, they are trying to sick, bully, terrorist, Antifa scum to come attack at those so the media can churn up more violence in America, blame it on everybody, and try to restrict free speech. So I understand on a small budget and our little reporters out there that we need to cancel those for now to reassess what we're going to do and then maybe have bigger events where we can have more security, control the situation, and use it as a place where the police won't stand down in a jurisdiction we know isn't controlled by globalists to then illustrate what's really happening. But I'm not talking about her. Other people are even saying, I'm not going to support Trump anymore because I don't want people to call me a racist. Well, if you do that, it's never going to end. They're going to say, you don't like Obamacare, you're a racist. You don't want to turn your guns in, you're a racist. You don't want open borders, you're a racist. This is the new religion. It's Tuesday, August 15th, 2017. Nobody ever said it would be easy to take back America from the globalist social engineers that use class warfare, that use economic warfare, that also use biological warfare through the GMO, through the vaccines, through the geoengineering to control populations. But we know they tried to say everybody that supported Trump was a racist, and they sent rioters in, mainly minorities and women, to the Trump events. It's in the WikiLeaks, to attack people, to try to get fights going, to get Trump's rallies canceled. And the media said, cancel your rallies. That's why it wasn't hard for me on Saturday, as the rioting by moron groups on both sides was going on in Charlottesville, Virginia, that I said, you watch, the talking point will be time to ban these rallies. And what CNN and MSNBC and the Washington Post and Google and Facebook and Twitter are doing is ganging up on mainline Trump-supporting groups, Millie Weaver's Flyover America, that is simply, hey, if you have a small business or you live in one of these small towns or in flyover areas, we want to interview you. And so it's like folks that own restaurants and gas stations, and we're interviewing black folks, white folks, everybody. Just totally wholesome, good program with Millie. I mean, we're talking G-rated, folks, unless Antifa shows up screaming and yelling and cussing and throwing poo-poo water balloons at people. And CBS put out a piece saying, here's the alt-right white supremacist meeting. Look, she has blonde hair. This is their hateful, stereotypical, anti-white garbage that's pushed by MSM to make whites think they're being racially attacked and to create that racial dichotomy. So after her Saturday, her and Gavin getting pepper sprayed, witnessing all of this, and now witnessing the CBS News piece that we'll play a short clip of coming up at the bottom of the hour, we'll look at all that. I'm on the road working on a big investigation, and I'll be live here the next few days with you. But in studio, we've got Owen Schroyer. We've got coming in tomorrow and through Friday, we've got Roger Stone going to be co-hosting in studio. We told you first that Trump didn't know that Arpaio was facing 6 months in prison for doing his job and enforcing the border law, arresting people with felonies and the people that have committed DWIs, you name it. But now Trump did learn about that a few weeks ago. I'll just leave it at that. And he is looking at a pardon of Arpaio. So we're going to have Corsi pop in for like 5-10 minutes later to break that down. And there could be a pardon by the end of the week. Also, Bannon could be out by the end of the week. That move is real. So there's a lot of things we're going to be covering on that front as well. They've put the lie out to the president and others that it's Bannon leaking and coordinating the so-called independent media that they call alt-right. No, we do our research. We see what's happening. We know what's going on. I have never talked to Bannon about policy, about news stories, about ideas. I've had his cell phone number for a long time, from back like 2.5 years ago when folks at Breitbart were saying I should get him on. And then I would call and we'd play phone tag and never get him on. And then once he was the advisor of the president, chief advisor, I'd send him a few text messages saying, hey, please come on. He'd say, brother, not doing interviews, just trying to save the republic, appreciate your work, have a good one. I'd ask him to come on again. He'd say, Just too focused in here. I'm not a public guy. I don't do any interviews. I don't talk to any press. That's my rule. I talk to no one except the president. Boom. That's what he does. He sits there and he strategizes in a war room with a bunch of whiteboards with their goals, with their plans, like cutting taxes, like killing TPP, like killing the carbon taxes, like defending the Second Amendment, deporting people that have felonies, getting the VA to fix its problems and to privatize it and to give people an option. I mean, they've delivered on like half of what they said they'd do in 7 months. And that's why the globalists are panicking. Getting a good Supreme Court justice in, getting the stock market up, getting over 1,000 companies to come into the U.S. Trump is taking the political power away from the elites that are gatekeepers and make people go through, the elites to basically have jobs or have a future. And he's transferring it back to the people and back to the states. He is devolving power. And anybody that wants to be weak-minded and mind all this race garbage, they deserve what they get. Because, Trump came out and said, this is terrible what happened. They said, oh, that's not enough, even though he said, I decry all racism on both sides. Then he comes out specifically and goes after these other groups. And they say that's not enough on MSNBC. The videos are on Infowars.com, the Steve Watson article, and at newswars.com, our news site, well, prisonplanet.com. And they say, he is a Nazi. He is a Nazi. And meanwhile, the mother and the brother of the young lady that died, sadly, they've come out and said they appreciate Trump comforting them and his kind words. So they don't want to be used by the media to wave a bloody shirt. You notice whenever somebody gets run over by radical jihads, when that is a real organized group doing it, they never say it's a Muslim that did it. Or when the leftist goes and shoots some, councilman in his yard last week to death because he's a Republican, they never personalize it. Or they never say it's left-wing terrorism when a congressman and others get shot in D.C. and the left celebrates it and says hashtag hunt Republicans. They want a civil war because they believe that they can then confuse the public to fight with each other, and that'll keep the elite in power during that crisis. Just like a prison riot, the warden uses that to keep control. If he starts getting people unifying, the blacks, the whites, the Hispanics, and others in the prison against bad policies or against corruption or against slave labor, things that have happened historically in the past that are put in fictional accounts like Shawshank Redemption, they'll use racial issues to control people once folks start getting a little bit too awake or too uppity. So all that's going on. But some people are getting psyched out by this. Some people are getting psyched out saying, oh, my gosh, folks are canceling their events because they think that they're going to have Antifa come attack them if they have these events. Well, if you start doing that, they've already won. And I'm not blaming people that have canceled some of their events just because they want to have security or want to be able to not let the globalists piggyback on what they're doing. But the answer is to say we're having a peaceful event that's inclusive, like we're going to march against Google's censorship of people across the board peacefully, or we're going to march for tax cuts, or we're going to march for the repeal of Obamacare, or we're going to march for better VA care for our veterans, or we're going to march for labeling of GMO, or we're going to march for all of these same school choice issues. This is what unifies us around policy and around real ideas. And I fully understand why Millie canceled some of her meetups, because all they're doing is, on Flyover America, on our little Facebook page, is driving around to see the forgotten Americans of every race, color, and creed that Hollywood on the West Coast and the East Coast disdainfully call flyover country and bitter clingers. And it's bringing people together. And so if the media focuses on, look at Millie Weaver, she's this alt-right person and she's this evil person and she's having these meetups, they are trying to sick, bully, terrorist, Antifa scum to come attack at those so the media can churn up more violence in America, blame it on everybody, and try to restrict free speech. So I understand on a small budget and our little reporters out there that we need to cancel those for now to reassess what we're going to do and then maybe have bigger events where we can have more security, control the situation, and use it as a place where the police won't stand down in a jurisdiction we know isn't controlled by globalists to then illustrate what's really happening. But I'm not talking about her. Other people or even saying, I'm not going to support Trump anymore because I don't want people to call me a racist. Well, if you do that, it's never going to end. They're going to say, you don't like Obamacare, you're a racist. You don't want to turn your guns in, you're a racist. You don't want open borders, you're a racist. This is the new religion of bullying and control that these bullies consciously know that they're carrying out. But the answer is, we're now in the season of the lawsuit. And I've said that. I'm getting ready to file lawsuits. Everybody just get ready. I'm filing on Google. Got to get it set up. Got to get it going. I am, here in Seattle right now, working on that. I'm going to be meeting with lawyers. I'm also going to be going to D.C. next week. I mean, serious lawsuits mean serious issues and serious time. May have to go to New York. We're looking at the right jurisdiction for the suits. The next people call us Nazis or racist, and we got a good case, we're suing you. Even though it'd be a long, drawn-out deal, we have to set the precedent that you can't do it. You can't have a nice young lady and our camera guy going around to meet Flyover America and talking about American values and bringing us together, red, white, and blue. That so sickens the social engineer, race pimps, the scum of CNN, the scum of the Democratic Party, the scum of MSNBC, the scum of the Southern Poverty Law Center that funded and created the Elohim City white supremacist command base, ordered to stand down. They knew the bombing was happened. They were all part of it at the time. The Clintons were involved. The Deputy Attorney General ran the attack, basically. And these are horrible, evil people that consciously know they're race pimping and want a race-based America, and that are betraying white Christians that made us the openest, freest country in the world and brought everybody together. They have used our strength of true exclusiveness and diversity against us because they are led by a literal Nazi collaborator who told 60 Minutes he's proud of what he did, rounding up more than 10,000 Jews for Nazis, stealing everything they had, and then sending them to death camps. Remember, the left's main funder is George Soros, and that's why they've caught leftist groups funding attacks on Jewish synagogues, black churches, and you name it, over and over again, is to keep Jews, blacks, Hispanics, and others under the control of wicked, evil, parasitic Nazi collaborators like Soros, who are the mafia who conduct false flags against minorities and hype up these events so they can keep them under their horrible, slithering control. Just like Soros funded the Arab Spring and put radical Muslims in charge. They are committed to pure evil. And when we come back, I'm going to expose that and exactly how the Washington Post reports, as well as the Associated Press, as well as BuzzFeed, that Trump was right. The Jewish Center attacks were carried out by a Jewish journalist working for Soros.
What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com.